all this, all this dust.
Welcome back to the channel. My name is Rex. How's everybody doing today? Today's video is going to be a run and tell, actually a tell and run. First I'm going to tell you about the car, and then we're going to run it. The shell is a Toyota Corolla WRC, one of my favorite cars to drive in Gran Turismo 2. The actual body is from I think a manufacturer called Team C. The inside cockpit is made from Tamiya. It's a rally cockpit set. The wheels are actually HPI, and they were gray, but I've painted them. Actually, they might be Tamiya wheels, but they were gray and I had to paint them white. This body, this car, is actually a shorter wheelbase than a typical RC touring car or rally car. Typical cars are 257 millimeters. This one's actually 236. It's built on a Tamiya TA02S chassis. I had this Lancia 037 kit sitting in my closet for a while now. I wasn't sure when I was going to build it, but I knew I was going to build it. And over time, I ended up requiring this body, but having no base to put it on. I originally wanted to get a second one of these so I could do that, but instead, I'm going to save the Lancia body that came with this and do something else with it. This body originally released from Tamiya on a TA03F, which is a front mount motor, four-wheel drive with a belt, which is more accurate to the real car in terms of front mount motor all-wheel drive, because this chassis here is different in that the motor sits back here and it's shaft driven. I prefer to use this car outside because it's got the shaft drive as opposed to an exposed belt drive that the TA03F had. So I'm happy that this chassis comes nice and short and fits with that body very well. I built the chassis almost to spec, except for the ball bearings I put in, the upgraded aluminum steering bits, the better drive shaft instead of the coat hanger that comes with it. I also built the suspension very differently. For some reason, even though they sell this as a rally car, they tell you to build the suspension so that there's like barely any ground clearance. If you have a look at the arms here, they're quite low, but they ask you in the manual to put limiting spacers in the shock so that it does not travel down and it sits about there, which is quite a big difference from the other side. Well, I went ahead and did not use the limiting spacers so that I could drop down lower. And they also ask you to use a single hole piston inside the shock when you're building it, restricting the oil flow. Well, I did not listen to them. I went ahead and used 3 holes. Yes, I understand the car will not drive or handle the way they may have intended it to, but I didn't want a stiff reactive car or stiff reactive on-road style car. I wanted something with a lot of movement, with a lot of clearance. I can get my whole hand under here, almost. Something that could roll, something that could handle all the bumps that I'm going to go through. Supple, soft suspension, so we get a nice rally effect when you're driving around the off-road. Nothing else was changed, just using the stock pinion gear that comes with it, 21 tooth. We do have hard rally tires on here without any inserts. These wheels originally weren't, oh, they're not even glued. So you know what, I'll probably put some foams in here and then glue them before I run them. Soft foams. All right, so I'm gonna charge up 2 of these batteries that fit properly in here. We're gonna head out and we're gonna do a bunch of tests with it. I've got a whole bunch of other rally cars, modern ones mainly, but this thing is pretty old. So we're gonna go do some track running. We're gonna do some Scandinavian flick, test this thing out. Let's go. Right, after multiple attempts of trying to do some videoing with this, I'm back out again. The first time I went out, the car was just naturally way too slow due to the gearing. So I brought it back in, put a 12 turn in it, and then I brought it back out, and then the diff was loose, so I brought it back in, and then I brought it back out, but I forgot the batteries. And now I'm here again. Let's start with some slaloms. The car turns like really well. It turns so well that I'm trying to anticipate a drift that isn't actually happening. Wow, let's do that again. Well, that's really fun. Okay, next time I come back, I'm gonna skip. Ah, I came in too hard. Ah, too close. That's fun. The car feels really balanced. The only reason it needs such a high RPM motor is because the gearing is so naturally slow. Yeah, this thing just turns. I mean, I'm just turning the wheel. I'm leaving the gas throttle, my throttle finger in one position right now. Oh. I'm just constant throttle. Ah, all right. Next test. Let's try some flicking. Flicking is when we're coming at the corner, we're gonna let off the throttle, turn opposite direction we want to turn, then switch towards the way we want to turn, and that should unsettle the car enough to whip the rear end around. Now, not like this thing needs any help coming around. Let's try and come around this corner and see what it looks like before we need any flicking. Okay, so I hit brake there, so it was a little stable. Let me see what happens without brake. Well then. All right, no flick. Just come in, turn, gas. I mean, it's kind of slow. Let's flick it a little. Okay, so I'm gonna come in, right, left. Oh, I need to turn towards the corner first, right? Whoa! I don't know what I'm doing here. Let's try it without the target. Okay. Oh! This thing turns on like a dime. It doesn't carry itself. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, I'm dusting myself. Okay, try that again. Ay, too much of a swing, too aggressive. There we go. All right, I need to be less aggressive because it turns so well and so sharply. I just need to be less aggressive. Try again. Woo, that was cool. Oh, this, all this dust. All right, let's make a little track. This new spot I found is kind of bumpy compared to it used to, so I'm gonna have to bring the XV01 and the XV02 out here as well and test it out here on this surface because it's a lot more bumpy than the flat dirt spot I used to play at. It was really fun, very difficult to handle on this bumpy surface. It's set up pretty bouncy because I like the way it looks, which also makes it kind of grab traction all over the place while it's moving around. Lower your volume. Actually, I'll just lower the editing volume. That motor's too big. That's all I had for 12 turn. Just for efficiency's sake, I'm definitely going to put in a brushless censored. How's the ball diff? So far, so good. Ow! If you play with RCs, you know the struggle right now. All the rocks that get into your battery tray area and it makes it difficult for you to pull them out. Next battery. All right, let's get back out there. I've got somewhat of a track kind of laid out. Let's try it out, I think. Very rough, this track. Imagine the size of these boulders that these cars are running over at scale. Oh my gosh. Would have busted up all kinds of drivetrain parts. Suspension, chassis, everything. Okay. Ah. Woo, that's fun. All right, well, I can feel this battery starting to lose. They're just NIMS because of the way these batteries are. You can only put these rounded batteries in, unfortunately. And I've only got some NIMS that are rounded. Don't really feel like buying LiPos. I'm happy. A couple more laps. This is fun. It's difficult because of the bumpiness. If this wasn't so bumpy, this car would be very easy to drive here. All right, punch is gone. Oh, but something's making noise. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Let's go find out what's wrong with it. All right, so we're back home now, and nothing wrong with the car, good thing. Just the HPI 12-turn Saturn motor is kaput. Well, maybe not. I just got to clean it out, run it in water or something, but it ingested a whole bunch of sand and probably some rocks too. And that was the funky noises. So I need to clean it out, run it in a bowl of water, and then oil the bushings, and it'll be fine. But I'm not going to be using that motor in that car anyway. Thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoyed the video. The car is really fun to drive. I don't recommend it as a modern day rally car. There are other options. But if you've got one, as you saw, it can be a great fun little rallycross car. Thanks for joining me. As always, peace out. Make it a great day.